So, here's a quick review of The Strangers Chapter 2. Go watch one battle after another instead. It's worth your time, it's worth your money, it's worth your sanity. So, The Strangers Chapter 2 was directed by Rennie Harlan and it stars Madeline Pesh, who returns from the first movie as, I don't even remember her name. Their strangers are coming after her still, despite in the first movie that she seemed to have gotten away, but it's clear from the end of the first movie that they're going to continue attacking her. So, as far as the Strangers franchise goes, the only one I thought was at least fascinating was the first movie. And I did buy the Blu-ray, it was on sale. And the fact that this movie, what was so weird and creepy about that movie was the fact that it just did feel different than a lot of other movies that are kind of similar to this. It actually felt unpolished. It actually felt like it was in the moment rather than something that was like clearly made by a studio. And I felt like that movie was very disturbing in its presentation rather than something that was like, I'm not going to go as far as to say The Strangers is a Halloween classic by any means, but there is something unnerving about that movie that made me kind of respect it. Then this movie comes around. I didn't care for The Strangers Chapter 1, if I'm being honest. If you saw my review of that, you would know that what I really didn't like about that movie was that it felt like it took everything about the first Strangers movie and basically just deliberately went in the opposite direction. It felt like it wasn't in the moment, it felt like more polished. It felt like there was a reason why these strangers were attacking this couple and such, and it just did not feel as intimidating or scary. It was just kind of a bland movie. So we have The Strangers Chapter 2 now, and it's somehow worse. Worse. This is honestly, I'm not even kidding, the worst horror movie I've seen this year. Like, I'm not even kidding. This movie is so boring. It is not scary. It is all over the place. It is just bad. Just so bad. I honestly don't even want to review this movie, but here I am. Just, ugh. So, is there anything good about this movie? One long take is pretty cool. And that's it. Like, there's a one shot in a hospital, like, at one point, and that's all I'll say. It's like, oh, it looked pretty cool for a moment, but if you ever see my videos, you would know that I do all my videos in one take, basically. I can do that. So, that's, like, if I can do it, it's not really that impressive, at least to me. But everything else about this movie sucks. The acting, terrible. I could not care about any of these characters. I could not care about what they're doing with their characters and such. It was just bland. The editing of this movie is also awful. Okay, so they have a studio logo at first. Okay, fine. You know, most movies start off with a studio logo. But then it just starts up with the story, kind of. And then there shows another logo. Okay, that was odd. Okay, now it's back to the story. Okay. And then there's one more logo. It's like, what are you doing, movie? What are you doing? You know, at least with something like, say, you know, Marvel, for instance, there was a period where they had something before the main credits, but at least it tied to the story in some way. And then eventually they would do the logo and then go to the main story. Okay, it was a little jarring at first, but, you know, it actually does kind of at least make sense why they have some scenes at the beginning. But this movie, the scenes that they intercut with are irrelevant. They have no purpose of being in this movie whatsoever. And immediately I'm like, I know I'm going to hate this movie. I am just going to be pissed off watching it. And I was. Not only was I pissed off, but I was also just bored. This is one of the least intimidating movies I have seen in a while. And it's just not even remotely scary. I was never on the edge of my seat. I was never concerned about the characters. I was just out of it. And also, what really makes me mad about this movie too is that it continues to completely misunderstand what made the original terrifying. The original was about these strangers. They're strangers who basically, you know, torment this couple. And what made that movie scary was the fact that we never really found out who it was or why they do it. And the fact that it does feel random, that made that movie at least more terrifying than this. This movie wants to have its cake and eat it too and say, this is a random occurrence and this is just completely pointless and, you know, we don't know why, you know, people do these crazy things and crazy horrifying things. And yet, the movie basically wants to say, yeah, we're doing this for random reasons. But it's clear that they keep going after this girl, and yet it doesn't feel random anymore. It's just obnoxious to me. And also, there were so many moments in this movie where I kind of just stopped caring. Like, the movie actually dares, like actually dares to have a backstory for some of these characters. And I'm like, do we need a backstory for these psychopaths? And even then, the backstories are not even that interesting. It's like, it just feels thrown in there a couple times. And I was just not intimidated by it. I didn't care for these characters. It just made me mad. I was annoyed. I really didn't like it. And also, I don't remember if this was in the first movie, but then again, I don't even care about chapter 1 that much. And honestly, like, there was a moment where it kind of shows a flashback of the main girl, her boyfriend who was killed in the first movie. Spoiler alert if you have not seen chapter 1. But there's a moment in the movie where it's like, okay, let me play you your favorite song. And they use a non-copyrighted song, so I think it's like, I don't get why this person would have this song as their favorite song, ever. Was it tied to a memory of some kind? Like a childhood memory in some way? That would make a little bit more sense, but then again, I don't care about these characters enough to actually care. This is just a moment where I'm like, why is this person's favorite song? And it kind of just distracts from the rest of the movie. I did not care for The Strangers Chapter 2. The Strangers Chapter 2 is so bad that it makes The Strangers Chapter 1 look good. That's how bad it is. It makes Strangers 1 look like freaking Halloween. That is how bad The Strangers Chapter 2 is. I was never on the edge of my seat. I was never engaged. I was just bored. I was bored watching this movie. There are times where it's like they kind of throw in like all these different storylines, and I just felt like none of them are really developed enough. And again, like, this is a second part of a trilogy, and I am fearful of what this trilogy is going to be like. I'm fearful what the third movie is going to be. Is this movie going to be worse than 2? Because I don't think it can be any worse than 2. This movie is dumb. I hated The Strangers Chapter 2. There are so many good horror movies, well, hopefully good horror movies that are coming out within the next month. Or, you know, there are classics that you can just rewatch again throughout the rest of the month. You should just not see this movie in any capacity. Even if you are a fan of the first Strangers movie, then I wouldn't even bother. Like, just do not see this movie. I will give The Strangers Chapter 2 0. I'll go, you know, I was going to say 0.5 out of 4 stars, but you know what? It's that bad. I'm giving it 0 out of 4 stars. Skip it. I was also the only person in the theater watching this movie too. So, that should say something. Just a little side note. So, The Strangers Chapter 2. Did you see it? And what is the worst horror movie you've ever seen? Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe.